What's up, fight fans? And we are back at it with another edition here at Round One Sports TV. I am your host, Edwin, and we have an amazing show for you today. This is a big topic, one that needs to be discussed in the boxing world. I feel it's a big back and forth about who's the better fighter between Tank Davis and Naoya Inoue. And I'm going to tell you something right now, you know, as I break down this fight right here, and I go into breaking down both fighters, right? I want you to keep in mind that when you're trying to get your point across to someone, you would like to say your half and your side of the story. Well, in this episode, I'm going to say both sides, and I'm going to compare both fighters to see who indeed is the better fighter between Tank Davis and Naoya Inoue. Now, I've been lied to before in my life. People have gotten up of status, and they look right into the monitor TV screen, and they blatantly came out and just say bull-faced lies or opinions. Like we discussed here at Round One Sports Talk, opinions are like assholes. Everyone has an opinion, right? So a lot of what's being said about Naoya Inoue, in order to bring him down a notch, they tried to compare him with other fighters. And what they tried to do is discredit the fighter and the champion that he is just by saying Tank Davis can beat him, right? And I say, well, then I would say I think that Usyk would beat Tank Davis. Would that be fair? No, it wouldn't be fair. Now, would it? So Tank Davis is 3 divisions bigger than Naoya Inoue. So why are you saying the obvious? The bigger man can beat up the smaller guy. That's not what defines a fighter. And that's not what makes you better as a fighter, because you're a person that's 3 divisions bigger than this guy. You're just pointing out the obvious and thinking you came up to a conclusion. Like by saying Tank Davis can beat Naoya Inoue, like you said something, anything of value. The truth is, what we're going to do is we're going to break down both fighters' career and record. And you tell me, you be the judge about who's the better fighter. And then we're going to break down who I believe would win in a fight and why all of this is taking place. Because there's a method behind Naoya Inoue's madness. And if you stay into the end of this video, I promise you, you have no idea which way I'm going. Don't watch something halfway and think you assume that you know what I'm about to say. Now I'm going to play both sides of the park here. And at the end, I'm going to share what I feel about both fighters and where they are in their career. So stay with me in this. And we're going to dive into 2 of the hottest boxers we have today, in Naoya Inoue and the one and only Gervonta Tank Davis. Let's get into this video. And what's up, chat family? How you doing? Armando, Carlos, thank you for tuning in. We're going to get to the bottom of this, right? And we're going to break down the fighters themselves, right? On this channel, we always talked about this. There's no fantasy island. We only break down what you did, right? Okay. So, Gervonta Davis' career, right? He fought a guy by the name of Williams, right? Denzi Williams, right? He came out In his first bout ever scheduled as a professional, a 4-round fight, Tank Davis. We are talking about Tank Davis, right? Which comes in with to us right now currently with a record of 30 fights, 28 ways by knockout, and no losses, no blemishes. He has 30 bouts. He's gone 138 rounds. He has a 93% knockout ratio. 93% knockout ratio. You heard that right. He's 5'5", he's a southpaw, and he's 29 years of age. Tank Davis. He started his career with a scheduled 4-round fight against Williams. Okay, here's the thing. When we talk about level of competition, which that's what we're judging you on, your level of opposition. Who did you beat? Who did you fight to be deemed worthy a great champion or a great fighter? Who did you beat? Right? So our measuring stick here today, right? For starters, one of them is going to be your competition, your level of who you fought. Okay. Gervonta fought Williams. Williams, as a professional, fought 4 times as a professional. He's never fought again. And in those 4 fights, he lost all 4 fights. Not only did he lose all 4 fights, he got knocked out all 4 times, all in the first round. He's never, after that, he didn't fight again. All 4 of his career fights, he lost all in the first round. And he left. In fact, Gervonta Davis is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. His first 5 opponents have a combined record of 5 wins. And one of those guys got 4 wins. That means that his first 3 fights, Gervonta Davis's first 3 fights that he's ever fought as a professional, right? He has his first 6 bouts. He's got, hold on. His first 3 fighters have a combined record of 11 losses and no wins. The first 3 guys he fought. They don't got no wins. Listen, Gervonta Davis, right? What is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. His 9th fight, he fought a guy, right? And Ivan. He had a record of 47 fights and 31 losses. Was his 9th fight. That was he came into a fighter that finally had double-digit numbers, but also had double digits in losses, 31 losses, his 9th fight. All the way up into then, he didn't fight anybody with a winning record. And in fact, Gervonta Davis, his first, what was it? Wow, that's a lot. Okay, his first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. His first 16 fights were under 10 rounds. His first 16 fights. When he came out, Gervonta Davis, his first fight was scheduled a 4-rounder, second a 4-rounder, third a 4-rounder. His 4th fight with a 6-rounder. He went backwards to a 4-rounder, back to a 6-rounder, backwards to a 4-rounder, then a 6-rounder. Then he went a 6-rounder, an 8-rounder, a 6-rounder, back to an 8-rounder, a scheduled 10-round fight, then a 10-round fight, an 8-round fight, and then he finally fought his first 12-round fight against Jose Pedraza. When he fought for the world title against Jose Pedraza after 16 professional fights, he finally fought for a world championship, and he finally fought somebody of like caliber. Yeah, that was his first world title, right? Yeah, that was the first one. The box record might be throwing me off because they're not acknowledging the WBA. So if I'm missing the WBA one, it's because box record doesn't have them acknowledged. Unless I can guess it by memory, I won't have no, real clock on when he won the WBA, because he won a WBA world title at 130 pounds. And I believe he won another IBF at 130 pounds. He lost one on the scale. I remember that, before moving up to 135. But after that, right? After like the beginning of part of his career, right? He started getting into championship fights, Tank Davis. Now, let's just stop right there. Right? If we were to go, and this is judge based on your level of competition, right? Because if you're going to say Gervonta Davis is better than Naoya Inoue, well, where's your proof? So we're getting to the proof. We can't assume that he's better. We can't just say an eye test. Oh, yeah, he's better. No. Wait. We're talking about two of the top people in the world. They're both champions and they both deserve respect. So with respect, let's check out their body of work. And we gotta hear out the facts. And as I'm doing this on a live. You can do it with me. You can go to Boxing Record on your laptop, on your side, and you could do the same thing I'm doing right here, right in front of you. You could call me out on anything you would like, because we don't speak Fantasy Island talk here. Round One Sports Talk, we bring the facts. So the facts is, let's go to see Naoya Inoue. And listen, as I go through this, I am not taking shots at Gervonta Tank Davis, because Gervonta Tank Davis is one of my favorite fighters, right? He's a hell of a fighter. But we're just not allowing the people to be lied to anymore. I'm tired of being lied to. I'm tired of these YouTube channels coming out and just because they say so makes it a fact. Well, I know what a lie sounds like, and I know how to fact check something. So why don't we do that? Okay, we're at the Japanese superstars, Naoya Inoue. Okay, so he comes to us with a record of 28 fights, 25 big wins by knockout, no blemishes, right? He has 28 bouts. 28 bouts. He went 169 rounds. He has an 89% knockout ratio. He's 5'5". He's 31 years old. He was born in Japan. Okay. His very, very first professional fight, which is a scheduled 8-round fight. He never had a 4-round fight scheduled or a 6-round fight scheduled. Out the gate, he fought an 8-round fight, right? And he didn't fight no guy with an 0-1 record, 0-3 record on his debut. No, he fought a guy with a record of 16 fights, 4 losses and 1 draw. This guy had already, listen, this guy had the same amount of fights that it took Gervonta Davis to get ready to fight for a world title against Jose Pedraza. Off the rip, day one, he fought that guy. He wasn't on Gervonta Davis's level. I didn't say that. But he had 16 fights, right? On day one. From there, his second fight, he had another 8-round scheduled fight. His third fight was a 10-rounder. His fourth was a 10-rounder, and he didn't look back ever since then. His fifth professional fight was a 12-round scheduled fight. And in fact, in that fight, he was fighting for the Japanese Pacific World Championship, which meant that if he can win that belt, he was the best among his countrymen out in Japan. So it really showed that, he was going to compete for a world title. With only 6 professional fights, Naoya Inoue competed for his first world title. Took Gervonta Tank Davis 16 professional fights. And in those fights, he fought guys with losing records. He fought, his first fight was with Williams. He had 6 fights. He went 6 rounds, and he got knocked out 6 times in the first round. And he lost to Gervonta Tank Davis. But he lost to everybody in the first round. And he only had 6 professional fights, and that was the end of his career. So those are the kind of guys Gervonta was fighting until he fought his first world title fight at 12 rounds, right? Good. By Naoya Inoue's 8th professional fight, he jumped up 2 weight divisions and challenged for his next world title. He became a 2-division world champion with only 8 fights. Gervonta has 16 fights in, still hasn't been a world champion. He 8 fights in, he's already a 2-time division world champion. Now, this is what I'm saying. Look, in Gervonta Davis's, throughout his entire career, he fought about, I think it is 5 world champions. In his entire career, Naoya Inoue fought 15 world champions. And out of the 15 world champions, he knocked out 13 of them. So how can you say that Tank's a better fighter based on what? Not opponents, and it's not accomplishments, because Naoya Inoue has won all 4 belts at 118 pounds and all 4 belts at 122 pounds. And he has 4 weight divisions. He has a record streak of 23 consecutive world title fights in a row. Gervonta Davis, the best thing he did on his record of late, because once he stopped fighting those tomato cans, Gervonta put up, you gotta admit, he put up some pretty good performances, because you gotta give him credit for this, okay? Because Gervonta Davis fought Frank the Ghost Martin. He was 18-0. He was undefeated. That was an undefeated fighter. Ryan Garcia was 23-0. He was an undefeated fighter. Hector Luis Garcia was 16-0. He was an undefeated fighter and a world champion at 130 pounds when he came into the fight against Gervonta Tank Davis. So Gervonta is responsible for taking the O and giving these guys their first defeat. That's not easy. Gervonta's beaten undefeated fighters, not exactly world champion caliber Ryan Garcia, right? But undefeated nevertheless, right? So, and then he fought Rolly. Rolly was 14-0. He beat Rolly. He gave Rolly his first loss. Esau Pitbull Cruz came into the fight 22-1. He already had 1 loss. Gervonta helped him out with the next one. He fought Mario Barrios. Mario Barrios came into the fight 26-0. You see a recurring thing with Tank Davis? He's beating undefeated fighters consistently in the row in the last bit of his career. Yeah, he did that. He just kept beating, giving guys they owe, taking away their own. handing the guy their first loss is big. It's not world championship big, but it's big. I'm not going to put that against 23 consecutive world title fights in a row and 2 division world champion with all 4 belts. I'm not going to put that against that. That's not that impressive, beating undefeated fighters, not undefeated champions, undefeated fighters, right? So that's not that impressive. Okay. And the fact that they say Tank Davis will beat up Naoya Inoue, that's not a far fetch. He's 3 divisions bigger than him. So I think Usyk can beat up Tank Davis. That's not fair to judge. So don't do it to Naoya Inoue. That's a cop-out. That is a pure cop-out. But I bet you if you bring Tank Davis to 122 pounds, let's talk about it. That's Fantasy Island. Oh, he'll be weight drained. Nope. Since we're talking about fantasy shit, then in a fantasy world, somehow Tank makes the weight, no weight drain. He has all his power, all his strength on the day of fight night. What would happen at 122 in his division? I don't think he beats. I don't think Tank beats him. But that's the same. There's a flip side to this coin. I don't think Naoya Inoue beats Tank at 135. No. Tank's too strong. Tank's too smart. Tank will try to bulldozer him. He won't try to let Naoya Inoue get settled at 135. I think his punch will be too big. Every time Naoya Inoue, if he could slip some in between, he packs a big punch too. And I think Tank's going to feel something pretty hard. I'm not sure. You see, that's Fantasy Island talk. That's all assumptions and opinions from me. As of right now, I just want to keep it facts. I just want to keep it what's on their record. What did they accomplish? Tank Davis is a 2 division world champion as of right now. He got a belt, a secondary belt against Mario Barrio at 140, but as we all know, that's a secondary belt. So they don't count that division. So technically, if he was to retire today and go to the Hall of Fame, he's only going to get credit for two divisions, Tank Davis. Naoya Inoue has 4. And when you're talking about competition-wise, right, who Tank Davis fought, right? Look, how many men, after losing to Tank Davis, went on to become world champion? I'll wait. How many men did he fight that was good enough to lose to him and then go out and get their belt or get another belt for that matter? Naoya Inoue's competition has been so good that Donaire, Jason Maloney, Emmanuel Rodriguez, just to mention a few of them, that have went on after losing to Naoya Inoue and became world champion. That means that those guys were world champion material. How many guys lost to Tank Davis and became a world champion after that? I'll wait. I guarantee you Naoya Inoue has way more fighters he fought against that men that went out and got more. You know why? Because he fought more world champions. I'm going to tell you right now, Hiroki Gamboa did not go out and win another world title. No, he didn't. Has Leo Santa Cruz won another world title since then? A real one, not a secondary one. I'm not sure about that. That's a question I'm asking. I can't remember right now, right? Rolly never went and got a belt. He got a secondary belt. That doesn't count. Ryan Garcia has never been a champion. Hector Luis Garcia was already a champion, so I counted him. But he lost his belt after that. In fact, he hasn't won yet. So, who? Wait, let me see. Maybe somebody wrote it. Dan, you threw my whole government out there? Jesus. Nah, it's not even about picking Naoya Inoue over Tank Davis because you would kind of be wrong. The only thing is that I will not lie on this sport. We've been lied to enough in this world. But if I had to pick a side, like I'm an American, I'm going to rock with Tank, right? Because if we're competing, right? But if I'm reporting and I'm calling the best fighters for who they are because they deserve it, I'm not going to lie on the sport I claim to love. So what if he's better than Tank? So what if he did better shit, right? Tank just got to do Tank shit. We got to get some of these belts and bring them back home here. Those championships got to come back here. I love Tank Davis, man, but why would I let these guys come and look us right in the face and lie to us and then tell us the obvious and act like they came up to an epiphany? Oh, Tank, Naoya Inoue can't be Tank. Duh! He's 3 weight divisions bigger than him. You act like you said anything, something, a small point. The odds of Inoue beating a guy 3 weight divisions heavier than him are fucking astronomical. And then they act like they said something. That's what pisses me off. Of course he'll beat him. He's way bigger than him. Well, tell Tank Davis to beat up fucking Deontay Wilder. Tell him. Tell Tank Davis to fight Big Gerald Miller. Like, come on, guys. They're getting all over the Japanese dude and actually comparing them on a fight. Like what they're, I can only compare you on your division, what you're doing at your job, what you're doing at your station. I can't judge you for fucking Hector station up on zone 11. I'm go to work and shit. Your boss walks up to you. Hey, you know what? You freaking suck. Because freaking Hector in zone 11, he's fucking killing it. And you ain't doing nothing. Bro, Hector in zone 11 doesn't even do the same shit I do. We ain't got the same job. I'm on position. Judge me on something. At least judge me by the people that are in my freaking division. Pick somebody. You know why you can't? That's why I'm that good. If you were to come on right now and say, you see, Tank Davis is the best fighter in the world. No, you can't get away with that. Tank Davis is better than Naoya Inoue. Better than Terrence Crawford. Better than Usyk. You can't get away with that. But if you were to come on here and you were to say, Tank Davis is the best fighter in the world at 135 pounds, ding, 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 ding. That is the correct answer. That is the correct answer. He is the best fighter in the world at 135 pounds. I don't think there's nobody else that's going to beat Tank at 135. I think they don't want that smoke. That is the right way to talk about our American fighter, bro. Don't compare him to a smaller guy, a bigger guy. No, that's not his job. Tank Davis is responsible for the 135-pound weight division. That's what he's responsible for. Who's ever there. If there's nobody, man, listen, that's what makes you the best. When you separate yourself from everybody else, that's what makes you great, ain't it? And we've talked about this. These are weight divisions. Terrence Crawford is the best at where he's at. Naoya Inoue is the best at 122. Usyk's the best at heavyweight. But if you're going to talk about these guys, and then you want to compare to see Who's the best fighter? Now you start to break down their individual style, what they bring to the table. Are they one dimensional? Are they a complete fighter? That's a different conversation. And some of these conversations interlock, and people, just to try to get out of an argument, not to be proven wrong, they take the conversation elsewhere. They don't keep it in what's real. And the only way you would actually convince me that he's actually a better fighter is by an opinion. It would be Fantasy Island talk. I would have to believe some outrageous shit because I would have to ignore what my eyes are reading. That's the only way. Because you can't put their records against each other. Tank would lose horribly. And by definition, Naoya Inoue's competition was 10 times better than Tank Davis's competition. By far, hands down. Naoya Inoue won more rounds throughout his career than Tank Davis on a percentage average. Means he's the better boxer. He got hit the less. He won the more of the rounds out of all his fights. Tank had to weather storms, work around rounds. Against Mario Barrio, he was actually losing the fight. When is the last time, if ever, you've ever heard in a Naoya Inoue fight, he's down on the scorecards? Ever. In any fight. I think he's behind in this fight. You will never, ever hear that. Not till present day. I can't say you might not hear that later, but as of right now, not one fight ever did the commentator say, you know what? I think Naoya Inoue is down in this fight. I think he's losing the fight. Never. How many times have you heard the commentator say, Tank Davis is down in this fight? Floyd Mayweather outside of the ring going crazy, losing his mind. Tank, on the unofficial scorecard, you're down. You're down. Going into the 10th round. Or 8th round or whatever it was. Right? It was crazy. Nah, he already dropped him twice. And then Floyd, it was like the 10th round. Yeah. So it was, Tank has lost more rounds in his career than this dude. So if you're losing more, they're both undefeated. Understand that. They are both technically undefeated fighters. But percentage-wise, he's more efficient. Way more efficient. And mind you, fighting against top guys, 15 world champions. 15 world champions. Out of the 28 fights he has, he fought 15 world champions. And he knocked out 13 of them. And he's undefeated. So he didn't lose the other fights. Right? Come on. How could you deny him? How could you sit there and look your fans right in the eye and just straight up lie to them about opinion? You know why I think that's so? Some of these guys that do their due diligence and they have successful YouTube channeling, big followings, and they know how to talk. They know how to talk, and I can admit they kind of know what their stuff. The one thing they're lacking is I think that they never laced it up. I don't think they understand the concept about what it takes to be judged on a fighter. I think they just think because it makes logic or sense, or they want to, attack the conversation or whatever, that they feel like, yeah, I can talk about this and I can say this and this is real and blah 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 blah. But now you're using that to actually disrespect a real world champion, a highly decorated world champion in the sport that you're covering. So you decided to go against one of the best decorated champions we have in our day. Why? Because he doesn't fit your agenda? He doesn't fit your fighter? He doesn't look like your fighter? Why won't you tell the truth? Why won't you just say, you don't even have to say anything outside of what they actually did. What these people want to do is give Gervonta credit for shit he hasn't done. Could Gervonta unify at 130? Yeah, he could. Oh, well, that means he already did it. Bullshit. Let me see that. I want to see that. I actually want to. I would pay to see that. And I'm going to tell you the truth. My honest assessment about Gervonta Tank Davis. If you think that for a second that Gervonta Tank Davis ain't any good, go find me somebody to beat him right now. Go ahead. I'll wait. I'll be right here. And type his name in the comments. Tell me who you think is gonna beat Gervonta Tank Davis, and don't bring me down no weight bully from 140 or something, or talk about you want Tank to go up to 140. That's not where he's the champion. He needs to keep his little ass at 135 and stay right there. And in fact, they've even criticized Gervonta Davis for allegedly putting a 10-pound weight claw, and he's trying to drain fighters out. No. Gervonta Davis is doing that. What he's doing right there is the best thing you can do in boxing, and he's keeping the boxers honest. If you didn't have to weight drain it, you didn't look like Frank the Ghost Martin. What's that tell you? Homeboy, you didn't belong in this division. You were trying to be the weight bully, and Tank Davis was keeping you honest. Tank Davis was saying, you want to beat me at 135? I'm at 135. But if you're not going to be a 160-pounder and try to come down and beat on the little guy because Tank Davis got a big name, and you know what I mean? And then blimp up the next day to 160 at a scheduled 135-pound fight. Now so if anybody's complaining about fighting Tank Davis with a 10-pound rehydration claw, they didn't belong there. They didn't belong in that weight division. You were too big. If you were a natural 135-pound, you should have no problem with the 10-pound rehydration claw. And I like what Tank Davis is doing because he's keeping the sport honest. He's not going to let the Devin Haney's of the world come and beat him. And then when they finally, it's like this, he's like 160. Yeah, I beat Tank Davis. Bro, you didn't beat him on the up and up. That's disgusting. You had to cheat to weight drain your guy and blimp up 25 pounds just to beat the man. You couldn't beat him at his own weight. And what he's doing, that 10-pound, Tank ain't read. If he can make the weight with the 10, because mind you, Tank's under the same 10-pound rehydration claw. It's not like he's only giving it to you and he can do whatever the hell he wants. Tank is also under the same rules. So if he can make it, why can't you make it? You should have no problem making it. So there's nobody, and I mean nobody, gonna beat that man at 135. Honestly, I always felt like he should take a step backwards and go to 130 and clean that division out too. Maybe 135 he should be there, but before he goes anywhere else, I think Tank should try to corner some of these champs in. Naoya Inoue, he got his opportunity. In the beginning, a lot of people slept on him. They really slept on him. They took a look at his picture and they was like, hell yeah, I'll fight that dude. And when they got in the ring with him, it was too late. It was too late. They were trying to survive, and that's what I think about Naoya Inoue's situation, is that he did get a lot of good moments, look, Naoya Inoue was the man that was in the division building his name. In those low fights, there's not many men that can get paid a few $1,000,000. In fact, there's very little of those men that ever see $1,000,000 in their career at 118, 115, 122. You got to be something a little special. You got to be like Bam Bam Rodriguez, exciting like Junto Nakatani. Naoya Inoue paved the way for people to be looking down at these lower weight divisions. I believe that's why we came across the Bam Bam Rodriguez, the Junto Nakatonis of the world, because of what Naoya Inoue was doing. So much, in fact, that we started to question his opponents. So we started looking them up. Like, who are these guys? Yo, Emmanuel Rodriguez was 19-0 for Puerto Rico. That was a shootout. They was in the pocket. Hey, exchanging big shots. Naoya Inoue caught up to his chin a lot faster. Naoya Inoue was been in with a lot of sharp fighters, a lot of skilled punchers. Now, I said all of that to say this. I really believe that Naoya Inoue is preparing for something. And I talked about this, but now I even think that it's a little bit deeper than that. And I really believe this. Naoya Inoue's last 3 fighters have all been lefties. Why? Gervonta Davis is a lefty. He's preparing to fight against the best lefty he will ever come against. I think he's preparing to eventually, in his career, with a fight against Gervonta, Naoya Inoue. When he does things, it's not by a fluke coincidence. It's really not. Why did you choose to fight these guys like this, these lefties? I understand that Marlon Tapales, he had the belts, but Luis Pantera Nari, you technically didn't have to fight him. Then right after that, you get another lefty, and that's just all coincidence, guys. Really, that's just the way the cookie crumbles. I don't think so. He went to New York City and he sat in the row and he watched Bruce Carrington. Gets up, walks out, leaves. He's studying us. He's preparing for us. He's preparing to come to United States of America. And if it has an opportunity of occurring, just for the possibility, I think he's getting ready. I'm not saying that it will happen. Maybe Gervonta might be gone by, I don't know. Naoya Inoue is actually older than Gervonta. So Gervonta will actually be the younger fighter coming into that fight. Okay? So he's got, I think he's preparing for Gervonta, bro. Look at the stockiness, like the way the guys are. Look at all of them. How's Gervonta? Yo, I'm trying to tell y'all. I'm starting to look at it. I'm from the outside looking in. I'm like, I know he's preparing for something. I'm saying 126. And I'm like, yeah, but that's not what he's preparing for. I think he got enough skill that he judged all those guys, said, yeah, okay, I could do this. I think he's going to walk in there and clean house at 126. There's nobody that's going to stop him. Espinosa, for me, presents the biggest puzzle. And time and time again, Naoya Inoue has worked flawlessly against long, rangy fighters. Yo Boy from France, the way, Yo Boy came into that fight with a record of like 42 fights. In fact, I think that in Naoya Inoue's career, his entire career, he has never fought a fighter with a losing record but one guy, And I think it was early in his career. It was, in fact, the second fighter he fought against. The guy had 9 fights with 10 losses. Was Naoya Inoue's second fighter, right? That's, in fact, the only fighter with 10 losses and double digits Naoya Inoue has fought his entire career. There's nobody ever he fought that had more losses than wins or in double digit losses. Everybody he fought was in single digit losses and had bigger number records. He's never fought somebody with a losing record ever like that. Like no. I think that the biggest, let me see. He fought a guy with a record of 35 fights with 7 losses, 32 fights with 9 losses. And that was it. Everybody else had a winning record. A huge winning records. Like for instance, um um let's see here. Nonito Donaire was 40-5. You know, Jamie McDonald was 29-2. Michael Desmarines was 30-2. The first time that Nonito Donaire fought him, or was it the second time? Yeah, he was 42-6. Paul Butler was 34-2. Stephen Kubo Fulton was 21-0. Marlon Tapales was 37 fights and 3. Luis Pantera Nares was 35-1. And TJ Doheny was 26-4. Like that. Like, he never fought anybody with double digit losses. Like, you know what I'm saying? Tank Davis, unfortunately, he fought a guy with a record of he fought Ivan. He had 47 fights with 31 losses. Yeah. And then he fought another guy in Cruz that had 40 fights, 18 losses, shit like that. I think Antonio had 28 fights, 18 losses. Who was anybody else like a tomato can? No. In the tail end of his career is when Tank Davis shined the most. As soon as he fought his first 12-round fight, I could say that he put in the best work. When he fought like fighters like Liam Walsh was 21-0. Francisco was 19-0. Mario Barres was 26-0. Isa Bipo Cruz was 22-1. Rolly was 14-0. Yeah, and et cetera, and et cetera. He fought a lot of undefeated fighters at the tail end. Yeah. But other than that, that was it. The thing is like, right, when we look at that fight like that, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, no, they were all against Southpaws. Naoya Inoue, all the last 3 fights. Javante Davis is a Southpaw. He's preparing for the best Southpaw in the world. It's Javante Tank Davis. I think he is. Once Naoya Inoue gets where he needs to be, let's say Naoya Inoue's goals go like this. I'm not saying that these are his real goals, but I can see somewhere around the line. Naoya Inoue's goals are to move up to 126, see if he could conquer that division, successfully get all 4 belts in the third weight division. Once he accomplishes everything he needs to accomplish in boxing, he's going to challenge Javante Davis at a catch weight around 132, 131, maybe 134. Anywhere in between that, but it won't be 135. And then, because that'll be like his grand finale. I think he'll fight the fights he needs to fight at 126, get those belts, and he's preparing himself for this mega showdown. All that's the cherry on the on the cake. If Gervonta Tank Davis stays undefeated until that day happens, Naoya Inoue walks off into the sunset. If he was to be victorious, I'm not saying he's beating Gervonta. I got to see that shit with my own eyes. That's a 50-50 fight for me. I don't know who wins that fight. I just don't know. I don't know. The American slick style will give any style in the world trouble. And when it's performed at the best, it is probably one of the best styles in all of boxing. Gervonta Davis has one of the highest ring IQs I've ever seen on a boxer. The things that you've seen him do in the ring is because that's the way the fighter was fighting him. He could adapt. He could adapt to your flaws and capitalize on your weaknesses. Tank Davis, he's like a chameleon. He's really freaking good at it, bro. He's really good at it, and he's so smart. He doesn't have the best footwork in the world, but what he lacks in his footwork, he makes up for that power so much. Now, not knowing where Naoya Inoue's ceiling's at, I don't know where his ceiling's at. I don't know if he's maxed out. I don't know if he'll look sluggish at 132, 133, 134. I don't know. Those are unknowns for me. What I do know is I've seen Tank Davis knock grown-ass men out at 130, brutalized them. I seen him hit a dude one time with a shot, broke his nose, and retired him right there in that moment. That dude never fought again. I seen Tank Davis's power at 130. I don't doubt it. I know it's going to be there. His skill's going to be there. The power's going to be there. And that big ass melon, he can take a punch. If he could take a Ryan Garcia punch that did that to Devin Haney and did that to so many other men, what's Naoya Inoue's punch going to be like? I don't think it's going to be a one, and I'm just going to see Tank just, that would shock me. If I saw like Naoya, and walk off and Tank, yo, bro, I'd become retarded. It'd be worse than Terrence Crawford did to Errol Spence Jr. That'd be worse than what Daniel Dubois did to AJ. That would be so, it wouldn't be as far as an underdog like what Buster Douglas did to Tyson. No, it wouldn't be on that. It would be worse than that. Because of who Tank is. He's a killer. He ain't doing that to Tank. You crazy. But if he did, come on, man. That would be, what if Tank did it to him? What if Tank was like, whoop, and Naoya went out right? And we were like, oh, Tank's crazy, right? And we go crazy. If Tank knocks him out, then that puts Tank, that would be my jaw would go same fucking way, bro. It would be crazy. I'd be like, nothing in my life would make sense. I'd be like, right? I would lose my mind. You know what I'm saying? And that's why that's so exciting. The thought of it. Either way, you're like, holy shit. The only way you won't think of it the other way if you're a hardcore fan of one of the guys, and that respectfully, I can respect that, but as a man that covers the sport, I don't have a horse in the race. I only just say what it is. I took this oath to myself that if I was going to cover boxing, right, just because, it didn't favor my guy, would I be biased? Would I still look past somebody's body of work just to say and to keep the eyes on my guy? It's bad enough that sometimes they don't give American fighters the credit or the notoriety in America because we're so damn spoiled out here. We've seen this so many times that it's hard to impress us. It's hard to get us up, go out, buy a ticket, get on a plane, get a hotel, and go watch a fight when we can sit back in our couch and basically stream it, right? It's hard for Americans to do some of these things. But when you can get people to come out the way Tank Davis is doing, that says a lot. That says a lot. He is who he is, Tank, at 135. Naoya Inoue is who he is at 122. And I believe both fighters have had pretty impressive careers. You know, they you know, and look, I'm not sure to present date Tank Davis has sold out 55,000 in one place. I'm not I don't think he's ever done that. I think Tank Davis's biggest gate was with Ryan Garcia. I think he made upwards like 80 million, some shit like that. That was his biggest gate. And even though Naoya Inoue has packed in more fans, Tank makes more revenue. You see? But thank God your success in boxing isn't measured by revenue. Is it? Is money better than a world title? Have we gone to a point in our sport that will look past a man's accomplishments because of how much he's made? How many gold chains and cars he got? It's no longer someone's body of work in their division. So I ain't shit unless I gain enough weight to move up 3 weight divisions to make you guys happy. Well, I wasn't doing a good enough job beating everybody undefeated, 4 divisions, 4 belts in 2 separate weight divisions. The fastest to unify all 4 belts in history, 6 months. It took him 6 months to unify all 4 belts. 6 months. He had 4 belts. What does he have to do? What does he have to do? Tell me what he has to do in order to... Come on, man. You guys can't be kidding me. There's no way you could disrespect a champion like that. I would never allow that with Terrence Crawford. You could not sit here and say, in actuality, Tank Davis is a better fighter than Terrence Crawford. Hell no. Hell no. Terrence Crawford is way more accomplished. He too has 4 weight divisions. He too was the first man to unify all 4 belts. Tank Davis has never unified all 4 belts in no weight divisions he's ever been in. I would not allow that. I would not allow people to disrespect Terrence Crawford because, damn it, now we're getting into a point where just because you say it makes it so. Just because you could spew that hate, those lies, the distrust. This is how they build their YouTube channel, by controversy and just having you argue about things that are not true to keep you entertained, engaged. Nah, this, nah, that. You know how long these guys kept you arguing about Jerron Boots Ennis and Norman Jr.? When in reality, if I wanted to, I could shut everyone's argument down. In a few minutes, I could shut down everyone's argument about that whole situation. You guys wouldn't have anything you could say back to me. I would dare anybody to come on and I'll drop the link. You're not going to be able to do it. Because technically, when they say Brian Norman Jr. was a duck, that's a lie, right? And I'll prove it, right? You can never call him a duck. He's a world champion. And you can call a world champion a duck. Yes, you can. Stay with me. Watch this. The reason why you could never call Brian Norman Jr. a duck versus Jerron Boots Ennis is because technically he doesn't have any obligations to him. That's called business. There's no champion that is obligated to fight another champion. And when you're spewing, we want to see the best fighting the best, or he should be fighting for legacy or to unify the, yeah, that sounds good. But that's your vision. That might not be his. He doesn't have to do that. See? The only thing that a champion is responsible for is the number one contender that becomes the mandatory. When you're at your job, you can only be responsible for what you're doing at work. If you won the WBA World Championship, that means you got to fight guys in your division, in the WBA ranking. You don't fight guys in the WBC ranking. They're not coming after your belt. You don't fight the guys in the WBO ranking. No. You could, but what they're going to hold you to, the WBA, is their ranking system. So all you're responsible for is the next man up in your ranking system under what title you hold, technically. Now, if he doesn't fight the number one guy or the mandatory, the champion, he's a duck. That's when you can put the title of duck on that champion. He's not honoring his mandatories. He's ducking that guy. That guy rightfully deserves a shot at that belt. That champion's ducking him. But the way you would say Brian Norman Jr. was ducking Jerron Boots Ennis, that would never be so. It wouldn't even be 10% correct. He doesn't owe Jerron Boots Ennis anything. When we talked about something and I walked away, that's called negotiations. I was looking over a deal. I didn't like the deal. I walked away. Not a duck. Not a duck. I have the right to do with what I want to do with my belt as long as I follow the rules under my sanctioning body. That's not a duck. The only way you can be considered a duck if you're ducking your mandatories and the number one guys. Now you're a duck. That's just a business. He walked away. Easy. Not a duck. There is nothing, and I mean nothing, no one could say that can make Brian Norman Jr. a duck in the world. He's already a champion. Jerron Boots Ennis is a champion. He just made him an offer. He walked away. Not a duck. Can't be one. I don't owe you shit. You don't owe me shit. This is just about money. And you want legacy to unify. Maybe I don't. That's not my vision. I'm content with just being the WBA champion. You're the one that wants my belt. You can never call a person a duck for that. You can't. He's already a champion. It's foolish. But yet, they got mad beef. He did this. He said that. Blah, blah. Technically, negotiation. That's it. He has the right to walk away at any time. You can do that. Adam, I don't know who wins that. Tank is just, that would be just something I would have to see, man. I just don't know. I don't know. I don't know if Naoya Inoue has enough to keep Tank off of him. Tank's been cracked by some big boys. Some really big boys. And I'm like, I mean, Naoya Inoue can crack. We've seen that firsthand. And he's putting dudes out like, what? Do you see how he put Payano out in the World Series of Boxing? Whoop! He felt like a tree. He's got one punch power. If he hits you flush, it's over. but I just never seen his power up there. But even if you were to take away Naoya Inoue's power, you're still left with a superior boxer standing in front of you. If he can't knock him out with one punch, damn it if he ain't going to be hurting him with all those punches. Naoya, asked Stephen Kubo Fulton what he felt like after. Man, if he would be honest and tell us. I don't think he would ever be honest. I don't think he's cut like that. He ain't built like that. He don't know how to show respect like Tank did to Ryan. By Tank admitting that day, it opened my eyes going into that Devin. I was like, wait a minute. Tank said what? Tank said Ryan hit him the hardest he's ever been hit in his whole life. I took that shit serious. I was like, what? That was a real threat. Naoya Inoue he's going to be a superior boxer standing in front. And like I said, would you rather get hit with a sledgehammer one time or with a hammer all night? Ping, 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 ping. That's got to hurt. It's not like now, and then he's nice. Naoya Inoue, he's nice. He was looking a little sluggish against TJ Doheny, but that's who you're supposed to look sluggish against when you're preparing to move up against a guy just in case you're not at your fastest and you're acclimating to more muscle, bigger mass, building into it, that if anybody you're going to play that role against, it's going to be this guy. And you're going to still be able to beat him with all of that. And he did. All three last fighters, lefty, lefty, lefty. I'm like, man, wait a minute. He's preparing for someone. And it sure the fuck wasn't Luis Alberto Lopez. You know what I mean? Who the hell was he's preparing up there for? Nah. He's choosing to do that. Listen, every move him and his father Shingo make is strategic. You better believe it, man. It's for a reason. These Japanese guys do things for a reason. They're not spontaneous like us. Like, yeah, I'll take that fight. Yeah, but look, he could have got anyone else he wanted. He could have passed on TJ Doheny and said, no, my last fighter was a lefty and he dropped me. I don't want to fight another lefty. They said, no, that's exactly what we're doing. We got to get better at lefties. Why? My opinion, for the best lefty he's about to come against later in the future. He has him in his radar now. Listen, when this shit happens, y'all better give me my fly. Like, yo, I'm going to cut this shit right here. I'm trying to tell you. That's how they, that's what I see. If the opportunity occurs, if it never happens, it never happens. You know what I mean? For whatever reasons. You can't, Naoya Inoue is not responsible for Tank Davis and what he does outside of the ring. Whatever he does coming out of that club in that Lambo, is Tank Davis really focused? Is Tank Davis going to be there? Because I believe Naoya Inoue is trying to do his part in order to meet him. But you can't always, he can't control what Tank does and who he smacks and what he doing after the fight or who he choking at a basketball game. He can't. He can prepare for him. And if he's there, when he gets to when Naoya gets to the place where he completed everything he needs, I think he's going to take that leap. He's going to take that leap. He's going to give the world the fight. You know why? Because you could hear it in his speech, Naoya Inoue. He said it. They said, yo, what do you think about the fans? And he said, I care what they think. He's not so much caught up on the fact that he has to come to America to be great. No. But he's willing to come to America to prove that he's great. And in order for the fans to give him the recognition and the credibility, what bigger name would seal your career? Tank Davis. And if they're both still undefeated on the day they shall meet, if Tank's still undefeated, I don't see nobody beating him. I don't see nobody beating Tank at 135. Hell no. Ain't nobody beating him. They can't beat him so much, in fact, that they want to talk him up to 130, 140. Ryo denied the fight because the offer that Tank sent to him was for 135. And Garcia didn't want Ryo to go back down to 135. He figured the best chance his fighter had was at 140. Not to fight Tank Davis at 135 with a 10-pound rehydration claw when your fighter is already trying to acclimate to 140. Sometimes some fights are not worth the money. You see? So now Naoya Inoue is scheduled right now to fight Sam Goodman. Naoya Inoue is going to come up into that fight with Sam Goodman up in December. Now, a lot of these fights have already been pushed back. Shakur Stevenson breaking his hand, Tank Davis. His opponent for November has not been announced. Subriel Matias is scheduled to fight in November as well. I just got off the phone yesterday with my guy that spoke to Subriel Matias's boxing promoter, and in fact, they already said he's got a date for November, but the opponent is yet to be announced. So Subriel is coming back in November. Tank is trying to get back in the ring in November, right? We got Usyk and Tyson in December, and we got a lot of great fights coming in October. And like I said, we got October 12th, October 13th, October 14th, October 19th. And we still got, there's a couple other guys that are fighting early October too as well. So we're going to be entertained until we get some of our best fighters back in the ring with us. Naoya Inoue's kid brother should be making a ring return around that time. You got Bam Rodriguez coming back in the ring. So we got some good fights, and we already got some big fights out of the way leading into this year. Right now, there's a lot of candidates already for upset of the year, knockout of the year. Anthony Joshua and Dubois doing their thing, where Dubois really, he impressed me, and he shocked a lot of people. I never saw the fight playing out the way I thought. I didn't think that Joshua was going to get dominated the way he got dominated by Dubois. If I thought that, I would be lying. I didn't see that coming at all. So there are a lot of good spots, and Naoya Inoue knocking out Luis Pantera Nari in that beautiful one-hand sequence knockout. Tank Davis also getting his knockout. Ryan Garcia fighting against Tank Davis, which that fight will not be nominated, but you can't take that picture out of our heads. That shit happened. It might not be up for a nominee because the fight was overturned, but you're still not going to take that out of our heads. Right? So there's a lot of good fights to come, but this is where we're at in the sport of boxing today. And let me tell you something right now. Naoya Inoue, if not, is by many the best fighter we have today, or opinion-wise, at least he's in the top 3. You got to give him that much. And if a guy at 122 pounds, when's the last time you've ever heard of a guy 122, 118, 115 ever be in the number one spot against all the glamour division? When's the last time we heard some shit like that happen? It's always guys in 130, 135, 140, 147, heavyweight, which they shouldn't be, but a lot of people, I understand why. I understand why they put heavyweights on a pound for pound list, because they just don't want to keep them irrelevant too. But in fact, we talked about this. You should never put a heavyweight champion on a list. He's already the king of boxing. He has the most prestigious belt, and by default, he's king. You don't put a king on a list. I just don't do it, right? So, and since I understand what the pound for pound list was originally made for, it was to give eyes to the other weight divisions when the heavyweight champion was getting all the eyes at that time. They wanted to recognize all other weight divisions for the skills that they had. And they said in that time that if there was ever a weight where a man could bring his power and his skill, and it would transform at the perfect weight where they would move the best and still have great power, it was between those weights, between 130 and 154. It was like that. That's where you would get your Sugar Ray Leonards, your Marvelous Haglers, your Roberto Durans, and the list goes on. So that's why I say, when's the last time you seen anything like what this guy is doing? He's truly bringing eyes to this division and also inspiring his countrymen. Look how many Japanese world titles of late. Do you think that's really coincidence? Do you? Or do you think that he inspired those Japanese dudes to say, yo, if he could do it, I could do it. I could dream big too. We could beat these guys. You know what I mean? And they came and won all those belts. They're in double digits. They're back in Japan with all those world titles right now. And they're pretty much leading the way. But America there's a lot of promise coming up that ladder. And we got a lot of help coming. Xander Zion, let him get ready. The Cormiel Moten, the Bruce Carringtons of the world, the Abdullah Mason. Watch. That boy's going to be a world champion. So we got guys coming up, and this is going to get real competitive. And I love the competition. I love what Mexico's doing. I love what Ukraine is doing, Dominican Republic, Peru, Panama, Wales, wherever. The Brits. I love what they're doing. Tyson Fury, what they do for the sport. Bring the best men and women in the world from all around the world. And let's get in that ring. Let's find out whose technique and whose style is the best. I'll put the American slick style against any style in the world. Because when performed right, we got some of the greatest fighters the world has ever seen. So I love when men like this are also, what good is it to be so dominant and so good, and then you're like, it's kind of like United States is fighting tomato cans. Nah, let them get better. Let the competition get fierce. Except, let's get some rivalries going here. Maybe we can get this rivalry against Japan. You know what I'm saying? And get some guys going against them at real good times, because Japan got some good fighters coming up to to weather that storm. So we're going to have some amazing fights coming up. But look, with respect, I got to admit, for as much as I love my guys, I'm going to tell the truth. I'm not going to disrespect the champion. Not a decorated champion like this man. He put in the work. He deserves everything he has. And if you want to break it down for skill and best fighter, okay, have at it. But undoubtedly, I'm holding him for what he's doing at his job, in his position, in his division. That's all I can do. That's all I can do. And if he's making it easy, it's for a reason. It's for a reason. He's just better. He's just better than them. Doesn't mean that these guys are any less fighters. Tomato cans. People like to put names on fighters when they lose. No. You can't just acknowledge the fact how good he is. Stephen Kubo Fulton went up to 126. He looked pretty good. He got dropped, came back, fought adversity, fought. He fought a great fight. He fought a good fight, right? And you watch these guys get in wars, battles against everybody else. And when they fight him, if they win one round against him, one round, that would be impressive. That's saying a lot. You mean to tell me that you can get a moral victory for winning just one round against him? You did good, kid. You got beat up for 8 rounds and then knocked out. But you got that one round in. And I remember you got one. You can say more. Listen, Stephen Kubo Fulton can't say he won a round against him. Marlon Tapales can't say that. You know what I mean? But you, Luis Pantera Nari, you won one round against them. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. And for that, bro, he celebrate. They celebrate that man for winning that round. And he knocked him down. That's really, that's huge right there, right? He didn't win the fight, and he got brutally knocked out in the result of that said fight. But look what guys are doing. These guys are legitimately taking moral victories for just winning a fucking round against this guy, man. This is incredible. This is incredible stuff. And I joke about it, but seriously, that's insane. That's insane. My man has won at least 96% of all rounds in his fight. That's crazy. That alone should scare some men off. They should read that statistic while he's coming to the ring. The guy's like waiting for him. He's won 96% of what? This guy, he doesn't lose minutes in the round. Yeah, that's just ridiculous. But I got to admit, when we're talking about, boxing, we're talking about this sport and stuff, I got to admit that a lot of people have a tendency, in order to sell you their vision on their fighter, they like to throw a lot of words in there that they believe can attract you. Immediately, they'll start saying the word goat, duck. They'll start using these phrases, and they're commonly thrown around in the sport of boxing, and hype job and all this other stuff. But as you can see with Naoya Inoue, he's a prime example of why sometimes you should do your due diligence and just don't forget to hit that like button on Round One Sports Talk and come here and get your real boxing news, so that you don't go and put your money on one of these guys because they're calling this guy a hype job. How many people were led astray and put money on Stephen Kubo Fulton because their favorite YouTube channel was yelling from the top of the fucking moon, this guy was a hype job? And he was as fake as they come. He was no good. He wasn't a boxer. He couldn't punch. These guys are tomato cans. Stephen Kubo Fulton is the next best sliced thing since bread. How many of you guys lost your money? And it's one thing to put money on a fight, and that my guy told me, hey, I think this guy's going to win. And it was a pretty close fight, or it was a great competitive fight. It could have went either way. I'm not going to be mad at my guy. I'm like, damn, man, my guy, he lost, but it was a good fight, right? You put money on Stephen Kubo Fulton, he didn't win a second in that fight. If you were a casual fan, you would believe that you were just scammed. You were just bamboozled. You were told a lie. Listen, bro. You told me this Japanese dude was a hype job and that Stephen Kubofote was going to whoop his ass. Bro, your guy looked like the hype job. Your guy looked like, I put my money, I believed in you. Right? You would have thought homeboy bamboozled you. I've been hoodwinked. Yo, am I right? But am I lying? Did these guys not lead their fans astray? Did they lead them with false information? Yeah, okay. Yet they're not wrong. And yet, when he won, they calmly went on, not to lose face, and said, oh, Naoya Inoue clearly outboxed this guy, beat the brakes off this guy, made it sound right. Well, I thought it was going to be closer than that, but he won. No sooner he fights TJ Doheny, they're back on it. Oh, he fought a cherry pick. He fought TJ Doheny. Ba. Wait a minute. Compared to who? Are you comparing him? Because you're talking shit about him, right? So, Naoya Inoue fighting TJ Doheny compared to what fighter that didn't do that? Compared to who? Who are you comparing him to that didn't do that or has not done it present day? Only present day, because he's fighting currently. So name me a fighter that has just gone all best of the best. Hasn't, according to you, fought no tomato cans ever. That who are you comparing him to? That's why I say that these guys, just because they say it out their mouth, they act like they said something, like anything that made sense, but they feed it to you guys with a little bit of, words in between, and all of a sudden they act like they said something. Bro, I can't believe it sometimes. Sometimes I truly can't believe it. I'm like, there's no way people believe this. Just look at what he's doing. Bro, you could be talking shit about somebody, hating on them all they life, about their life. Oh, this motherfucker don't work. This motherfucker ain't never got no money. He ain't got no bitches. He ain't got shit. And the next time you see him, and every single time you see him after that, he's coming out of work, cashing his paycheck, and he's meeting his girl. You're like, what do you see? Yeah, they can talk shit about you. Anybody can down you who you are. You don't lead by trying to talk it back. No. Your actions speak louder than any words. You don't got to explain to the person you got a job. They can see it in your appearance. You ain't got to tell them, I ain't high on drugs. Why? Because they can see it. There's some things you don't got to explain. Right? If I'm watching him fight Naoya Inoue, and I'm watching fight after fight, accomplishment after accomplishment, he gives me a wow moment after wow moment. The way he fights is very, very, very efficient. His technique is superior to none. And this is what I'm watching, but this is what they're saying. It just doesn't make sense. And if you're here, it's because you want to know and you want to be told the truth and you love combat for sports. Listen, people, listen, I'm not a hater on nobody. I don't dislike any fighter at all. But the one thing I'm going to try my best, and I promise this to myself, Owen, don't change. Don't change for no one. If this is how you see it and this is what you feel, just say it. And then let their record speak for what their body of work, not what if. And I promised myself never to lie about any fighter in boxing if I was to cover it. That was just, I felt like if I could be honest to myself and be honest to the fans, no matter if I feel like I'm standing on a limb by myself, so what? I feel sometimes at times I'm out there with Naoya Inoue talking them up, and they're like, why you ain't talking up these guys? Bro, this is not his channel. This is not one boxer's boxing channel. I cover all boxers, all fighters. And when I do this, I try to just keep it as, not as complicated by guessing this and saying this. And because he beat him, he should be able to beat him. That's not how fighting works. That is not how fighting works. And if you were ever a fighter or ever in a fight or grew up around fighting, you would know right away that is not how fighting works. I could whoop your ass and lose to him, and you beat him that beat me, but I beat you. That happens all the time. Styles make fights. That's how fighting works at a professional level. At a street level, this totally different ball game. You see? So sometimes I do feel like I'm out on a limb when I'm talking about this guy, but I made that promise to myself and to y'all. And to y'all, and to keep it real with all these, you know what I mean? So what? I could have been like Edgar Berlanga. Yeah, I could have drew up, made him, hyped him up, over the Mexican. But no, I decided to keep it real with you and tell you how I was doing things. When I came into Terrence Crawford, every fight, I tried my best to do my due diligence and to keep it honest. And my honest assessment on what this Japanese dude is doing, he doesn't need me to speak up for him. No, he doesn't. I don't have to sell you on who he is. Just read what he's done. If you were to take that name away and I was to slap on Gervonta Tank Davis on the top of his career, what would you say about Gervonta then? Is it because his name is Naoya Inoue? I don't know what it is. But I know one thing. I know exactly who he is. He's one of the greatest fighters we've ever had. And I am privileged to live in an era to have watched a man so skilled. I was just a little bit too young. I saw the Sugar Ray Leonards, but I was a little bit too young, the Marvelous Haglers, to really fully understand what they were doing. Not like in a position where I'm at today, where that I'm I have a much better perspective of what boxing and fighting should be and what a boxer should entail. I have a different set of eyes of how I approach fighting, and with experience and watching enough fights, being around enough fighters, you know, you know, I've I've watched thousands of boxing matches, and for me to be impressed, you're not going to impress me like that. I grew up watching Floyd Mayweather Jr. You're not going to impress me, bro. And when I saw this dude fighting Naoya Inoue, I was impressed right away. I knew what I was watching. I knew what my eyes were seeing. I just didn't understand what these guys were reporting. And that's where my conflicts came. It actually brought me closer to the sport. And here I am today. You guys know me, and no, I can't allow that to happen. I can't allow one of the best fighters in our generation to be swept under the rug because he didn't match your narrative. I'm not going to play that shit. He's going to get the love that he deserves. Enough fighters talk about these other fighters. I love you guys, all the fighters as well. But if my guys are not, you know, I'm just gonna do the best I can covering the sport. That's what I got to say about it. Listen, damn, you guys are chatting it up. I gotta read some of these messages. Give me a second. Well, I hate doing this, bro, but you guys is chopping it up today. So I'm I swear to goodness, if you guys ain't monitorized some of these messages, and I'll pop a message up here real quick, and it be some dumb shit on bam, because I gotta go through these messages now. I want to see what you guys are saying. Look at that's Armando. I trust Armando though. Tank will knock out. Tank will knock out Naoya. Naoya can't go much heavier on his weight. Nah, Tank can go down too much weight. A catch weight is. Yeah. It all depends on what weight they fight at. Yeah. I shared that. Because if you blimp up Naoya Inoue and you get him all the way up there to fight Tank Davis, are we really going to give Tank Davis that credit? You didn't beat him on a even playing field. And I won't give you the credit neither if you fucking drain out Tank Davis and have him all depleted like this, right? On a freaking I'm not. And then Naoya Inoue beats him. Now, no, I'm not gonna give him that credit. You guys had to deplete out Tank, so there has to be a catch weight. There has to be a catch weight where both men can still be comfortable, and I believe there's somewhere there, 133. 132. Right in there. I think both men could be happy. Naoya Inoue came in way heavier than 132 in his last fight against TJ Doheny. I believe he was 138 on the day of fight night? So he was already fighting TJ Doheny at 138. Let's just keep that in mind. And he's been fighting lefty after lefty after lefty. He's already at 138 fighting, entering the ring with TJ Doheny on his last fight. Bro, guys, I'm trying to tell you guys, I think this is the plan for him. And I stress this. This is 100% completely out of my head. This would be the only thing out of this entire video that I'm putting in my own viewpoint, where I believe he's headed. It makes sense. It makes sense. It does. And he could fight him in Las Vegas, like Bob Arum said. I mean, not the Vegas fight for the 2025 one. I think he's going to do a little work at 126. I really believe that. Maybe he doesn't want to be a three-time 4-belt holder. Maybe that's our view. Maybe that's not what he wants. Maybe he's preparing for Tank. Maybe he's going to skip by the 126 all entirety. Just go after him, after Tank. I don't know. He's done crazier shit than that and got on and was successful. When he jumped up from 108, he went right to 115. He went right over the 112. He never even stopped there. If not, he would have 5 weight divisions of right now, Naoya Inoue. So, but I just, that's where I see it. That's in my assessment of what I believe is going to happen. And it's going to be him. It really is. Hold up. That's what we'll do. Just in case, I don't want to end the night with not getting anybody an opportunity. If you would like to come in and share your comments or what you feel about Tank Davis, Naoya Inoue, I dropped the link in the chat. If anybody would like to come in and talk about this topic with Tank Davis and Naoya Inoue and who you believe is going to win and why, or whatever you would like to talk about, you can come in, hit the link. And I think you're going to have like the StreamYard. You're gonna have to download the StreamYard app, which is very small, minimal. So, yeah. We talking boxing. Fuck Trump. Yo. Do I what? Okay, hold on. I think you asked me a question. Grow man, don't talk, don't shit like that. Yo, bro. Frontline. All respect to you, bro. Okay. You guys are just going back and forward on it. What's good, bro? How you doing? My man in the building. Y'all don't forget to hit them like button for me. So, I dropped the link in the chat if anybody wants to join. But today's topic, we're talking about Tank Davis and Naoya Inoue, two of the hottest and brightest stars we have today in boxing. They are um they are the best in their respectable division. Tank Davis is the best fighter at 135, in my opinion, and there is no doubt that Naoya Inoue is the best fighter at 122 because he currently has all four belts and is undisputed at 122 pounds. So that leaves no other champion. Take Davis in his division in order to separate himself from the other champions. I believe he would have to at least acquire one more belt. If you got more than I do, then that means that you're that much better. But if I have a belt, you have a belt, we're pretty much even. Technically, there's no definitive king, but opinion based, I don't think there's no one that's going to beat him. Not even Shakur Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson is an amazing boxer. He's athletic. He's truly gifted. He knows when and where to throw a punch. The problem is Tank Davis doesn't fight like that. That's it. It would be a horrible match, I believe, for Shakur Stevenson to fight a fighter such as Tank Davis. That's explosive. He has a lot of a good spring. He can be real. He'll be up on you really fast, and he can cut the distance really fast. And Shakur Stevenson, what he does is evade a lot. He's a good evader. He won't let you hit him. And what he basically does is just keep moving back and evading so much that the guy finally gets tired, stands there, and Shakur kind of, but Shakur's a great, great technical boxer. But that technical shit is not going to be good against a even more skilled, highly ring IQ fighters such as Gervonta Tank Davis. I think he's going to sneak that shot in between his guard. When, that shot that he like lunges, that he's real fast on, Tank, and he fakes you out with his footwork. He shifts his feet, and people think that he was going to go in. He throws a jab, and then he springs. And he caught Mario Barrio like that too. And like, I think Tank is just too much for Shakur. I don't think Shakur got enough pop in his punch to keep Tank off of him. And I don't think that Shakur possesses that kind of power that's truly going to knock Tank out. I don't see that happening. So at some point in the fight, Shakur Stevenson is going to have to stand there and exchange with him. He's going to have to. How are you going to win the fight if you're not throwing any punches? How are you going to win the fight if, see what I'm saying? So at some point, I feel they're going to have to engage. I don't think Shakur got it in him to trap Tank for to beat him with just a jab. Keep Tank way out there with just his jab and do what Devin Haney kind of did to like Loma type shit. That's impossible to do to a man like Tank that's taking everybody's jab away from them. There hasn't been a jab that Tank Davis has gone in the ring and hasn't taken it away from his opponent. He took away Mario Barrios' jab. He took away Frank the Ghost Martin's jab. He took away Ryan Garcia got an amazing quick jab. He took that away. Tank's taking away everyone's jab. You're not going to convince me that Shakur Stevenson's jab is going to be like a unicorn, some jab that Tank Davis has never seen before. He's going to block that shit. So get that shit out of here. A jab's not going to beat Tank Davis, not a man like that. No, that's why I say I don't know what Shakur is going to do. What is he going to, you think he's going to box and Tank's going to just be standing there going, blocking, taking these punches? Like, Tank Davis has fought Luis Santa Cruz, was a hell of a skilled boxer that boxed the shit out of Tank Davis. Gamboza was a great boxer that fought with him like that, and they didn't beat that box. That shit didn't matter, man. In real, like, if you really like Fantasy Island, yeah, Shakur is fucking awesome. Yeah, I get it, but I understand styles make fights. I understand that. And I understand that Tank's style is a nightmare for Shakur. That's not a good style you want to go against Shakur's style. Hell no. I'd put Shakur against Devin Haney. No problem. No fucking problem, bro. Yeah, Regis Progress. No problem. Fighters like that. Like, I'd put Shakur in against Loma. No problem. I put Shakur in against Zepeda. No problem. I put Shakur in against anyone else in the division. No problem. Tank Davis? You got to be out your mind. That style is not catered for that. He's not. I'm trying to tell you guys. You guys, some people might think like, oh, he don't know what he's talking about. Just watch when that fight, if it ever occurs, watch. I swear to God, I'll cut this fucking piece of film out and paste it, right? Because I'm just trying to tell you that, yeah, I'm not saying that Shakur's a bum. I'm not saying any of that. I never said that Shakur. I think maybe there's another scenario that maybe Shakur could outbox circles around him. I doubt it, though. Tank's too smart. He's way too smart to let a jab beat him. And if Shakur opens up anything else than that jab, that's when I'm going to have to find out what that chin is made of. That's when I'm truly going to find out that answer. Because Tank Davis is going to test that chin. He sure the hell is. And if the smoke clears and Shakur is really standing there, we got ourselves a fight. We got ourselves a fight. If Tank can't like hurt him like the way he hits, and Shakur goes, nope. And Tank, if you can't keep him off you, that I would have to see. But Shakur Stevenson's fighting style is not good when it comes up against Tank style. Nah. Tank is an efficient fighter, bro. You're not supposed to be knocking out fighters like Leo Santa Cruz, a Hall of Famer. You're not supposed to be knocking him out the way Tank knocked him out. Mind you, Leo Santa Cruz technically has never been knocked out in his career. Never been knocked down, nothing. It was a rabbit punch one, and the referee acknowledged that it was a mistake. So I'm acknowledged that it was a mistake too, and so technically he's never been knocked out, nothing. The reason why he doesn't get knocked out and knocked down, he's such a good fighter that he understands fighting and he understands where you're supposed to be if you throw a punch. So the fighters develop a style that he knows that he's going to take the less damage. And if you sneak in a punch in between there, damn it, then you're good, because I'm Leo Santa Cruz, three division world champion. I've seen every style there is, and I've fought in lower weight classes where the guys were much faster than Tank Davis. Much faster. They just didn't hit as hard, right? For Leo Santa Cruz to be physically drained in that moment, that's what happened. He had a mental lapse because of the pressure Tank was putting on him. Just before that, there was a low blow, and Leo Santa Cruz didn't take enough time off. And he was mentally breaking down. If you could do that to a 3-division Hall of Fame fighter, let's remind you, Tank wasn't this decorated champion he was when he was fighting Leo Santa Cruz. The decorated fighter in that ring that night was Leo Santa Cruz, not Tank Davis. And Tank Davis took that man. He threw one too many jabs, and that man put him on a highlight reel. We thought something was wrong with Leo. We were like, he's dead. Tank hit it. He hit him so hard, his soul jumped into the bleachers. I swear he knocked his skeleton right out of his body. That was insane. You're not supposed to do that to him. Not Tank Davis for who he was at the time. No. And Leo Santa Cruz was a much smaller fighter coming up. Really? Really? What did my two eyes, what did these two eyes see that day on the fight? Wait a minute. Leo Santa Cruz is taller. Leo Santa Cruz's back is bigger. Leo Santa Cruz has got the range. Leo Santa Cruz has got all the attributes were on Leo Santa Cruz's size. So how the hell were they calling him the smaller fighter? You see how they try to sell these things to you? I was like, what is this? Right? But that's how they're going to try to sell it to you. Listen, fight fans, I got to admit, this would be a big fight. And I hope it does happen. What weight does it happen in against Tank Davis versus Naoya Inoue? Truthfully, I don't know. I don't know. But I think they can meet at, like I said, 132, 133. I think they actually can do that. And where that, I think that I was going to say, I think they should still keep that 10-pound rehydration claw, but in this sequence, I don't think it would be. Like, you might be asking too much out of Tank. How much he blimps up from like 132 to fight night, that would depend. You know what I mean? I don't know. How much weight would Naoya Inoue gain on fight night? That would also depend, on size. I remember when Arturo Gatti brutalized that Italian kid. I forget his name. Joe Comaz. And when Arturo Gatti, right? No. Wait. Not Arturo Gatti. Yeah. Arturo Gatti, yes. When Arturo Gatti got on the ring that night with him, he was 20 pounds overweight. He blimped up. They made the weight that night, both fighters. And Arturo Gatti got in the ring that night 20 pounds heavier. The reason why I'm bringing up this fight is because that dude actually tried to sue Arturo Gatti and accused him of cheating for coming in 20 pounds heavier on a fight. He took legal action against Arturo Gatti for that. Arturo Gatti almost killed that man in the ring. Go watch that knockout and tell me what you think. That was one of the most brutal knockouts I've ever witnessed in sports. He hit him with that shot. He was defenseless after that. He hit the worstest thing he could have done was stiffen up when he took that shot from Arturo Gatti. Instead of just falling back, which I believe he didn't have no control over, right? But that was the worst case scenario. That when he hit him, he stiffened up like this. And Arturo's reflexes, that two-piece he hit him with, that shit was devastating. He gave that man brain damage. It was ridiculous. So that's where, you know, even if you was to go and fight him at a catch weight, if you allow Gervonta Davis to blimp up 20 pounds over, we're right back at 135. We're right back to the 3-weight divisions, a bigger guy beating up a smaller guy. You're just trying to disguise it with a catch weight. Are you trying to set up Naoya Inoue, or are you going to try to compete fairly? Meaning the next day you should blimp up, you should be within that 10 pounds. And Naoya Inoue should be within that 10 pounds. Now we got ourselves a fight. If they weigh in at 132 and the next day on fight night, let's say both fighters come into the fight 140, I wouldn't be mad at that. Naoya Inoue's 139 and Tank's 140 going into fight night, weighing in from 132. That's legitimately 8 pounds. From 132 to 140 is 8 pounds. I wouldn't be mad at that. But now if Naoya Inoue weighed in at 132 on weigh-in, and in the day of the fight, he weighs, let's say, 138. And Tank Davis is up there at 165. That's not going to be right. That's not going to be right. You know, Tank blimping up all the way at 165. He's fought in fights at 140. Tank can put on the weight. We know that. Gotta keep it even at some point. You know, just because if you don't do that, you're gonna have all Naoya Inoue supporters go, nah. Tank had 20 pounds on fight night. You're not gonna want to take that victory like that, Tank. No. Just beat him on the up and up. If Tank goes in there, fights him at 132, weighs in, no outrageous amount of weight, and goes in there and beats him, he beat him. There's nothing we can say. At that point, Tank was just a better fighter. That's it. There would be nothing I could say. There would be nothing. Because they would have fought at the right, you know, so. You guys are crazy. Yo, fight fans, you guys have been amazing. Think over what I've been talking about. Please, if you got anything to say about this, drop it in the comments. We've been on for almost 2 hours. I've been kicking it. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think. You know, I hope that I've shedded some light on this. I kept it as real as I could. I used their actual records, not Fantasy Island, not what I thought or who I assumed. No, I told you exactly what they did, and I put it out there. I believe both fighters are amazing fighters. I love both of them. I love Tank at 135, and I love Naoya Inoue at 122. If one day they had these two titans of world champions paths shall cross, and their swords are to meet, I would love to see the last man standing. Yes, I would. So, fight fans, this has been an amazing video. Thank you for your support. Please don't forget to give these videos a like. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Click that bell notification icon inside your phone setting as well to be notified. Because sometimes you might see that you're not getting the notification. It's because you haven't clicked the one inside the phone. which YouTube has changed their options. I don't know why they're doing it like this, but that's what's going on. So, fight fans, love yourselves. Thank you for the love and support. And I'm on to the next one after this one here at Round One Sports Talk. Peace. Have a great night.